It's big plays.
What a play!
Bad days.
I bet this guy's into the woods $100.
And parlays.
That's the one. Parlay.
Big plays, bad days, and parlays on Hurrdat Sports.
Care to place a wager?
Saxophones are on, and we have liftoff. Big plays, bad days, and parlays. Troy Aldridge, James Merrick, Andrew Rogers in the best attire of the night.
You look great.
We promised.
Awesome.
Promised to get the punishment to surface when James made his way back from his little vacation. Were you just working? Is that how it happened? Oh no, you had the going away party.
For Tim, yeah, we completely forgot to even say anything about it. Like, we knew about it for so long too, and I was just like, oh, Wednesday, I can do that.
Well, for those that forget, we built brackets for the MLB postseason, and I lost, and what we settled on was having the other two pick out the item of clothing for the loser. And so I went to Goodwill with the advice of Troy and James. Troy wanted something crazy on the top. A vest was his preferred option, but I thought this could suffice. We are getting close to Christmas season, and homemade ugly sweaters are kind of in.
That doesn't look itchy at all.
Dude, it's made of tinsel.
Should we make him take the undershirt off? Like, that should be the only thing he's wearing.
I put this on without the undershirt, and I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. No, I can't do the whole show. It was so itchy. I went pee and back, and I couldn't even last a minute. So I took it off. Hey, but look at this feature. Ready? 1, 2. Hey! For those that aren't watching right now, I have Christmas lights all throughout, and they work. Dude, they sold the batteries with it. I thought it would be a batteries not included thing, but man, Goodwill knows what's up.
Look at Goodwill, man.
And then the hat, James wanted something cowboyish, but then that really wouldn't work with the headset, so he followed up with just put something crazy on your head. So I found a tie-dye bucket hat, and that's what we're rocking with. It kind of matches in a way.
Yeah, bucket hat, beanie.
I'll tell you what, though, boys, it's still, like, finding its way through my long sleeve. Like, it's so itchy.
Good. That's
I feel like
punishment.
This is carpet that you would find in your great-grandmother's house. Oh, I just found a hair. That is disgusting.
Oh,
look at this. Look at this.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
that's
man.
Gross.
2 hairs. Why is their hair this long all the way down? Oh, my gosh. It's still coming.
Oh, dude, you picked the perfect one.
Oh, look at these. I got to go on both sides. This is gross.
Oh, dude.
This is gross. Oh, there's some on this side.
I feel bad for your cleaning crew.
Dude.
No kidding.
Man, this is fun. That's about as fun.
Did you check the hat for lice?
Yeah, dude. So there were a couple there that I was in between, and I'm like, I think this one has the best chance of not being washed and not having lice. That's really fun. That was disgusting. Oh my gosh, it's still. Oh goodness, this is gross. Do you remember when we were at McAllister's, Troy, in Columbia, and I'm eating my French dip, and I take one bite, and I'm like, that's not roast beef.
It was a pickle.
That's not roast beef. And I look at Troy and just go, and it's
one
this
bite.
long black hair.
Like, he pulled, like, half of it was in his mouth and the other half was just, and he just.
Dude, that makes me want to throw up. That happened to me at Taco Bell, and that's why one of the reasons I hate it so much. And it was like a foot long, dude. And I was like almost all the way through my bite whenever I felt it. And dude, between the lip, could just feel it.
I have a slit between my 2 teeth. Can you imagine it coming out of that slit? Just right on through like a mailbox. No, but it was amazing, man. The manager at the McAllisters in Columbia, Missouri had the audacity to try to blame it on me. To try to say that was my hair. I'm like, well, if you look, I don't think I have a black hair on my body. So I doubt this is me. Can you imagine?
A foot long.
Bro, can you imagine blaming that on your customer? Like, I put this hair, I planted this hair so I could get a free meal.
Bite of it.
Yeah, and then I pulled it out of my mouth. Yeah, get out of town. Oh, I was low
Did
key.
you get the meal free?
One free meal. I think you got a little
gave me
coupon.
Yeah, exactly. They gave me a
Taco
coupon.
Bell said sorry.
Classic.
They didn't even offer me a free taco.
Hey, sorry. Would you like another hair?
I have more.
So one of two things will happen by the time I take this off. I will have like chigger bites all up and down my body, or or I am going to be drenched in sweat. It's probably both.
I'm still pissed you have that undershirt on.
Dude, I have two undershirts on, and it's still creeping onto my skin.
Keep pulling out hairs, man.
I know. Here it is. Here's another one.
Like a woolly mammoth.
Oh,
man.
God.
So, yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with myself for my picks. I'm not happy with myself for my plays. I'm not happy that I have to wear this outfit all show.
Sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off about some of the things, that a lot of us try and do just to practice what we put our bodies through just to sleep at night. And for that to be the result of all that effort pisses me off.
Pisses me off too, Derek Carr.
No, I didn't know who it was until I heard him start crying. And then I was like, oh, it's Carr.
Derek Carr, he has a voice that doesn't sound like his body. It's kind of like Patrick Mahomes. It's like when you hear Derek Carr talk, it's like, are you sure? Are you sure
100%.
that's you? Oh, man. Now, okay, yeah, I am pretty pissed, though, that I have to wear this, and I can't wait to take it off by show's end. But these shows normally go an hour and a half, so I can't wait to just sweat profusely through.
Yep. We're going to drag it on, too.
Yeah, just like this is dragging up and down my arms right now. The story of the weekend, though, happened on Monday. So let's go back to Monday Night Football. One of us three made a 5-leg parlay, and it was green until this happened.
Hurts underneath, and now the laterals. And instead, it's going to be picked up for a touchdown on that lateral by Casey Toohill. And the Commanders have won this game.
So Devontae Smith throws that ball backwards, and because of that throw backwards, he lost receiving yards.
So stupid. And
because he lost those receiving yards, the prop bet for him this week was 50 plus, I think, or 49.5, if that's the exact one. And he ended with what? 39? 39. And Troy had a three touchdown player and added in Devontae Smith and what? Miles Sanders rushing? Antonio Gibson.
Yeah,
Antonio Gibson.
Yep.
So, Troy, break down your bet and the heartbreak you had to ensue in this moment.
Well, I mean, it started off good. Jalen Hurts, the 3 touchdowns were Jalen Hurts, Antonio Gibson, and Devontae Smith. And then, like you said, I did 35 rushing yards for Gibson and over 50, so 50 plus receiving yards for Devontae. So I get that Jalen Hurts touchdown. Boom, right away. They fumble. He gets to the 1. Boom, I'm good. That Antonio Gibson touchdown came also pretty early, and he wasn't eating, but he was getting plenty of carries to get to 35 yards. And then the game goes along, and Devontae Smith makes a great play, spins off the defender, prances into the end zone. I'm literally green halfway through the third quarter.
Oh, yeah. All 5, right?
Completely green.
All green.
All green. He, like, when Devontae Smith scored, he was literally at 53 yards, and Gibson was at 38 rushing yards.
And the sportsbook paid you out at that moment?
No. I just knew they were green.
Okay.
We didn't get to that
Which is smart for the sportsbook not to pay you out right away, just in case for something crazy.
The same games, for some reason, they usually wait for the game to end.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a sideline reporter, though, on standby to catch up with Troy in this moment after the game.
You've been speaking to the officials all night. What's your reaction to some of those calls in the first half?
What's your reaction? You're watching the same game I am. I think you ought to comment on it, positive or negatively, whatever's running through your mind.
So, yeah, he was at 53, and Quez Watkins caught like a 7-yard pass, tosses it right back to him. He doesn't run forward, immediately gets tackled. They're at their 10-yard line. They have
he
90 yards
to the
go.
sideline.
And he just throws the ball backwards.
Just in desperation.
Yeah.
Absolute
and so they gave him a 13-yard loss. They subtracted 14 yards from his 53, and he ended with 39 receiving yards. And I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. Once the punt was coming with 12 seconds left, I knew they were going to lateral the ball. And A.J. Brown was hobbled. He was not going to touch that football. I saw it.
I think it's just so stupid that counts as negative receiving yards.
Yeah, some of the stats.
And it's just because I think they recovered it. I think it's only a fumble lost. I'm not sure. But it's just because they counted it as a fumble, dude. That's it. That's the only reason why.
It's crazy. Some of those stats are a little wonky for me to understand, and I'm happy there's other people that, I don't know, pay attention to that more than me, because that would just give me a headache trying to figure out what's a loss and what's not. But like any great coach, Troy made an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And in an effort to beat the system, what'd you do?
So clearly DraftKings did not see that last play or had no idea that it was
the rules.
Correct. Somebody's going to get fired. Promise. They, for some reason, paid me out.
Paid you out. Yeah.
Paid me out completely, full, everything. Like his 50-plus receiving yards were green.
And what'd you do?
I immediately went to that withdraw button.
Which you should not have been able to do.
Correct.
What state are you in?
Yep, I am in Missouri. I should not be able to deposit or withdraw at all. For some reason, it green checked marked my location. I hit withdraw, took it all out. It all.
And it went through a review process.
Yep. It says you because all your withdrawals, they say they're going through a process. It only takes like less than 30 minutes to an hour usually.
But dude, double check your work.
Yep.
Double check. What are you doing?
Dude, it went in that night. Like that's the crazy thing about it. Like it went all the way through by the time I went to bed.
Yeah, I got a text from Troy at like 11 or something saying, "Bro, it's sitting in my checking account."
Well, he was texting me back and forth, and he's like, dude, I can't believe it. Like, that's got to be the baddest beat I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, I've seen some pretty bad beats, but like this one's pretty rough, especially because of, how the game ended up, ending. And he just kept back and forth. He's like, dude, like I'm looking up these stats and this is how it's recorded. And then he just turned his attention to, well, let's just go check my account. We'll just see if
because I'm literally just killing myself constantly looking at his receiving yards on ESPN, praying they change. Like praying it was something wrong, like those yards will go to Watkins since he caught the pass. It just wasn't looking good until I checked.
Just when you thought this was the baddest beat of the century, it turned out to be the best gambling story ever told.
Yeah, and so I knew I had to get out of there, right? Like, FanDuel, here I come. Yeah. So I have never redeemed my like crowns or whatever they call it on DraftKings.
Yeah, the DK crowns.
I'm like, I'll get rid of those before I dip. So there was like $60. I play that down to like $30, and I checked back today. And that slip, the 3-leg I hit that they paid me out for, it's just gone. Like, it's not in my losses. It's not in my wins. It's just gone. And they sniped my $30 that I had in there.
What?
So, like, my account just said 0.
What jerks?
And that bet slip is just gone. It's not anywhere on my account.
Bro, they probably lost so much money off that, just people doing the same thing.
I mean, like I said, dude, somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, how many people got paid out? That's what I want to know. That's what we need to find out.
Because that happened to
Whoever's
James
last
multiple
leg was
times with hockey stuff. And if he would have been in a state where he could have withdrawn, he would have got him like 2 or 3 times.
Dude, at least.
Yeah,
At least.
in a way, James probably would have done exactly what you did and just cashed out and ran.
Right, that's what we're saying. But
like, so it wouldn't have happened over and over though, because they would have. If James kept betting, they probably would have found some way to get something back.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go to FanDuel. I don't know, dude. They took my $30, whatever, because they probably saw it was rewards and they were pissed.
Did they send you an email or anything?
No, dude.
They're probably so embarrassed.
Gone. That's the craziest thing. It's just not in my thing anymore.
You can't delete a bet. Like,
They're probably so mortified to look at themselves in the mirror.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And
you know, sportsbooks,
finally,
they care more about the pennies than they do about the big dollars, because the pennies are what add up for them.
That finally we get a bad beat for the sports book.
Finally. Yeah.
They can have that bad beat. I've had plenty. We've had plenty.
That's crazy.
Everybody's
man.
had plenty. They can have it.
That is the wildest gambling story I've ever heard. And mind you, Troy is the luckiest sports bettor on the face of the earth. So I'm not shocked that this ended up happening to him. But my goodness, what a crazy, crazy night for Troy.
It was mixed emotions. It was an absolute roller coaster.
Now, I can't speak for either of these two, but my bank account is talking to me, and things aren't good right now.
Just thoughts on your team's start here so far in the first 15-plus minutes.
We suck. We haven't forechecked. We haven't done anything as of right now.
What do you want to see differently?
Forecheck.
I need paychecks. Change forecheck to paychecks. That's what I need. My bank account's like, dude, figure it the fuck out. Because nothing is coming back my way when I give you money.
No,
Nothing.
you're just racking up my Venmo.
Man. Yeah, that was crazy. Troy hits like $800 on one night and then also gets a $15 Venmo from me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just...
I say, hey, like I said, man, we send you our bets. Come on.
You don't. You send me the ones you already placed.
So that way you can tell me what you want.
So you're gonna tell me that you'd be like, oh man, like I'll place
replace
another
it 100%. If you say I'll ride, dude, can you do that for me? God, yeah.
I don't want to make you do that though.
God, yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like it's the bets that I ride that won't hit.
Same. And when I ride bets with people, it's just not like it doesn't even come close.
Oh yeah, except our one last night.
Just
goal one
past.
I forgot about that already.
Same game X in hockey. Troy texted me the picture. He said he said Matthews or Marner. I said Marner, and then he locked it in with the other 3 that he picked. So it was Crosby and Marner, same game, and Ovechkin, Barkov, same game. And Marner scored pretty quick. Crosby scored like right after him. Those 2 were gone. Barkov was the first goal, like super early out of all the games. And then the Capitals had
8 power plays.
6 or 7 power plays, which Ovechkin, that's a lock. 3 goals probably during those 6.
Yep.
I don't even know if he had a shot until like the 5th one. Like Ekblad was all over him. Anytime Ekblad left, Barkov went and just parked on him. And he just sat there. He didn't move at all. Like, did not move, try to get open. By like the 4th or 5th power play, he moved to the front of the net and just started trying to tip it in.
Yep. Sounds like me. Sounds like a bet I would have placed.
That was to win like a G.
Yeah.
Yeah, would have been nuts. Would have been sick.
Crazy.
Would have been. Wasn't.
Yep. I've been there so many times this year.
We watched all 60 minutes of that game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Crosby scored. There was 15 minutes in the second period of that Capitals game.
Yep.
Wow. That's insane. That's wild. Now, outside of that, though, James, we didn't get to hear from you last week. Any big wins that carried over?
Yeah, so the last Thursday, me and Troy and a couple other people were at Top Shooters, a bar over in Illinois. So we were able to live bet and stuff. So I started off the night with a live. They were letting us do next touchdown scorer in the football games, which they never let us do. So it was awesome. And I hit 10 to win 60 on A.J. Brown. And then later that night, I put a $15 on Troy Terry at plus 1,300 to score first. And I also hedged that with $20 on him anytime because there was a little boost on that. And he did score first.
Dude, you guys are crazy with that first goal, first basket, first touchdown stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy with that.
That was
it's an addiction for sure.
That was 210. The anytime goal was 50. And then I also hit another parlay that night. McDavid over 1.5, Zegras and Miro Heiskanen. And that was 25 to win 241.
Sheesh. So it was one night of you just going off.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, cool.
I had another hockey one over the weekend.
Yeah, I just got a couple more.
There was Josh Morrissey, Cole Caulfield, Nico Hischier, Bo Horvat. It was 20 to win 158. And then I finally hit an NFL one again. Alan Lazard, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler. That wasn't this past weekend. That was the weekend prior. And that was 15 to win 225. And then me and Troy rode a 1.5 point one together. But I changed one of the legs, and that's what saved both of us because it probably wouldn't have hit if we actually rode it. It was Panarin 1.5, McDavid 1.5, and I did Rantanen 1.5. He did McKinnon 1.5. And the way it hit was insane, dude. We were predicting the whole thing. It was like Rantanen was in the box, and he already had a point. McKinnon already had a point. And we see them fighting for the puck in the zone, in their defensive zone, and clock's ticking down on the play. And we're like, dude, the puck's got to come loose here, and Rand is just going to be wide open on a breakaway. Jarred loose. McKinnon gets it, snaps it right by the defense up to the blue line, and fires one pass. Who was in goal? Because he should have had.
Who were they playing?
Was
it Columbus?
It was the Preds.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Who was it?
Probably Saros.
It wasn't.
No, it was. Oh, it was Lankinen or.
Yeah. Lankinen.
Yeah, the old Hawks goalie.
Hawks
yeah.
Goalie. Miserable, so bad. Yeah, he should have had it and scored. So that was 25 to win 250. And then we were actually at what was it? Fuzzies the other night, and I hit on Troy Terry first goal again.
Sheesh.
He was, dude, they keep disrespecting him. Plus 1,100 against these crap teams, the Blackhawks, like 15 to win 180 again.
I love how you're like they keep disrespecting him as if like he's the best player in hockey, and there's like 20 other players on the ice that could score first.
He's the best player in those
They keep
games.
disrespecting him, yet there's 12 forwards on each team and, 6 defenders on each team.
Yeah. But he's a beast, and he scores
Hey, I'm with you. I bet on Troy Terry a lot last year, and he made me money.
And there were only 3 games that night, so I did Kyrou point, McKinnon 1.5, and Tays point, and that was 20 to win 145. And then I hit a cool football one on Sunday. It was Kirk Cousins' first interception out of any quarterback. And, dude, I checked my phone 100 times because it was halfway through the first quarter in all the games, and there was not an interception yet. And I was like, this has to be wrong, dude. This has to be wrong. There's always one on the first drive. And I didn't see one. And then they go, and the weather was awful there. Second worst odds. Plus 1,100.
You and those plus 1,100s. You should just bet every time you see that. So what did you accumulate a G?
First touchdown?
Yeah.
That's insane. Well done.
Who's your daddy now?
Let's keep this trend going. Speaking of football, we'll start with Thursday night football. And you have the Tennessee Titans against the Green Bay Packers. The Titans, the longest active ATS winning streak right now in football. And they've covered 7 consecutive games against the spread. Mike Vrabel, 5-1 straight up and against the spread as an underdog on short rest. Aaron Rodgers on Thursday Night Football, 9-4 straight up, 9-3-1 ATS, which, I mean, those numbers aren't overly fantastic. For a quarterback of his stature and how well he's played over the course of his career, it seems like those numbers should be better. But on short rest, 24-6 straight up, 18-11-1 ATS. Rodgers, 2-8 ATS in second half spreads this season. That is the least profitable quarterback against the second half spread in the NFL. So with all of those things in play, what are you guys thinking about going into Thursday night?
Since it's James's Packers, I'll let him go.
All right. So I put together a little, just a little same game parlay for this. I honestly think it'll be a good game. I mean, our run defense has been our kryptonite, so I think Henry will carry them. Aaron Jones coming off a huge game. I think he'll do well again. Lazard didn't score last week because he was a little banged up. I think he stays, he's a little healthier, even though it's a short week, but I think he scores this week. So little same game. I like Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Lazard. And then I like Aaron Jones over 65 yards, Derrick Henry over 80 yards, and Lazard over 45 receiving yards. And that's plus 2,500.
Keeping it consistent across the board. Troy?
That is the exact touchdowns I wrote down. Those exact 3 guys.
And you're only doing Lazard because he effed you last week.
Yep. And
me too.
I'll probably do those yards similar to those yards too. I usually stick with touchdowns and yards. Rarely outside of Raj. He's the guy that'll hit 3 touchdowns and miss by the yards. But usually my guys hit their yardage if they score. But hopefully that continues.
Yeah, my track record has not been good on SGPs, but
maybe
this week,
Tannehill pick too. You like that?
Yeah, could.
Yeah.
Easily could. Rodgers could throw one too.
Yeah, actually.
He's going to air the ball out a lot this game. I wouldn't be shocked if he finds a way to underthrow or overthrow one of his receivers. I like Aaron Jones over 22.5 receiving yards this week. I think that's a really good play for him, especially, as James had mentioned, coming off a big game. I like Ryan Tannehill's under 187.5 passing yards, but taking Rodgers over 242.5 passing yards. I think that both of those are very safe plays with how poor and leaky the Tennessee Titans pass defense is in the secondary. And then I'll add in the Derrick Henry touchdown as well, because the Packers defense, of course, hasn't been what we thought they were going to be this year. And Derrick Henry, it doesn't matter what defense he plays, he finds a way to run through them. He'll run through a wall.
Minus 140 is odds, obviously, for a touchdown, but that's still juicy in a parlay, especially.
Yep, especially if you just throw it in there. So that's what I like going into Thursday night football. But there are other sporting events taking place on Thursday. The NHL, college basketball, college football even. Where are you guys leaning on the NHL front on Thursday night?
You want to start, Troy?
Yeah, if you guys followed last week, we hit last Thursday. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. We had the 1.5s that James mentioned. I had McKinnon, he had Rantanen, but we had this basically the same 3. This week we're going to do the same thing. Thursday night we're doing Nate 1.5. We're going to do Artemi Panarin 1.5, and he's blown me the past couple games, but I'm going to stick with Nikita Kucherov over 1.5. Those 3 guys, put like 10, 15 on it. It's going to be a nice payout. They should all be plus, you would think. Maybe not McKinnon. Maybe we're looking at like a minus 110, but I like it.
Yeah. I also like 1.5s for that. There's so many games tomorrow. I also like the Avs game. I think the odds will be good since they're playing the Canes. I still think there'll be a ton of goals in that game from both sides. So I think Rantanen 1.5's a lock. He'll probably honestly have worse odds than McKinnon now, just because he's been playing so well.
Eating.
And then Matthews 1.5 against the Devils. I think there's going to be a ton of goals in that game. And then I also liked, what was it? If Eichel gets pushed to 1.5, because he's usually a half a point, like minus 220, minus 240, and he's playing the Yotes. So if he gets pushed to 1.5, I would do him.
Yeah, you mentioned Austin Matthews. That one is just so rough early on this season because he's somebody that would always find a way to get 2 points and has struggled to find his way into the point column just in general. So hopefully with some late momentum, as of late, I should say, that one could eclipse that 2 point mark.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, I'm going to stay away from the NHL. I'm going to wave bye-bye to it. I'm going to wave bye-bye, just like how everybody wants to wave bye-bye to Christmas music already. Great tie back into my sweater. College basketball special. Let's throw this one in, especially for our local audience. Nebraska, St. John's, over 158.5 points in this game. Look, both teams are far too fast-paced to go the under here. So many better scorers on this Nebraska team this year. So many. You add Sam Griesel out of the transfer portal. You also get Juwan Gary from Bama, Emmanuel Bandamel out of SMU. CJ Wilcher is shooting over 40% the last 2 seasons. He's come out of the gate strong this season. You have shoot first options on the bench. And then you look at St. John's, who's shooting 40% from outside on this beginning portion to the season. Nebraska gives up 40% of their points defensively from 3. Guarding Soriano will also be a tough task for the Huskers down low as well. This game just screams over, and I would even play the over up to about 161.5 here. So fire up Nebraska St. John's over college basketball on Thursday night. Moving into Saturday, college football has been kind of my saving grace, at least when it comes to credibility on this show. I went 4-3 last weekend. Isn't the best record, but hey, that's still plus money when you solo bet. 47-36 on the year. I gave 3 games last week and all 3 hit. So hopefully you rode those on the show. Of course, it was my sleeper picks that chose not to hit last week, but that's okay. The first one, and I took them last week because they were 2 touchdown dogs. Actually, I think they were 2 touchdown and a field goal dogs. Navy plus 17.5 against UCF. This will always get my attention when Navy is a dog by 2 touchdowns or more. So the reason I like Navy so much, they are one of the most run-heavy teams in the country. And that just bleeds clock. They eat up possession, and they limit possessions for the opposing teams. That makes for a tough cover when you give a margin of 17.5 points. Winning this game comes down to stopping, we'll say, the explosive UCF offense. It really is Plumlee that goes nuts for them, their quarterback. But outside of that, Navy can absolutely stop Plumlee on the run, really anybody in that backfield on the run. They rank in the top 25 nationally in 7 rush defense categories. Plus, the midshipmen are 5-0 against the spread away from home this year, covering by an average of 12 points per game. Fire up Navy again this week. Next one on that list, Vanderbilt plus 14.5 versus Florida. So Florida is 0 for its last 8 ATS as a road favorite, failing to cover by 14-plus points per game on average. That includes 4 consecutive outright losses, all as favorites to win by over a touchdown. Vanderbilt can put up enough points to stay within the number here against this suspect Florida defense. I like 14.5, and I would also venture to say that they could probably cover by 10.5. So if you're looking to buy points here in favor of the underdog, maybe go the Commodores route. They are fighting to get to a bowl game right now. Nobody thought that you'd see Vanderbilt potentially fighting for a bowl game at this point in the season this year. I think all things are trending in Vandy's direction to do something special and put up a fight against Florida. Last on this list, a combo pick, but same game. Charlotte La Tech over 64.5. Charlotte's over. I can't remember the stat, but a buddy of mine sent me at the start of this season that Charlotte's over has hit for like, I don't know, 12 games straight dating back to last season, and the over just constantly hits in this game. So I like Charlotte's over because it's two decent offenses against two putrid defenses. These defenses rank in the bottom 5 in college football. So any offense can be productive against a bad defense. I don't care what team you play for. If you can move the football down the field at a decent rate, I'm going to take the over. Plus, I like Charlotte +3. Over the past 2 seasons, La Tech is 0-4 ATS as a road favorite. They failed to cover by 13 points per game, and all 4 actually came against conference opponents and outright losses. So you could easily see Charlotte winning this football game. La Tech doesn't have their starting quarterback either. The backup, not very great. Lost to Florida International and got blown out by UTSA. So if you like that combo pick, maybe lean that direction. I love Vandy 14.5 against Florida and Navy +17.5 against UCF. James, Bama is playing whom?
I didn't even look, dude.
Are they on a bye this week again?
No, Austin, PA.
Oh, that's going to be a close
Austin
one.
P, yeah.
Hey, bro, they're 7-3. I'd look out.
Are they in the Southland Conference? I'm going to look it up.
Yes.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh. That'd have been crazy.
I've never even heard of that conference.
No, they are in the OVC with your Lindenwood Lions.
Wow.
Ooh.
So, yeah, they're definitely not covering.
And screw them, because we are Lions by heart, by trade, forever and always.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yes, you
One
are.
roar.
Nope. 0. I will
LU
take
for life?
Every single team spread against them in football, in basketball, in field hockey.
And how has that gone for you so far?
Football went well. The basketball, 32 points. Come on. They lost by 27.
Hey, if you would have bet against them when they faced off against
Mizzou.
Mizzou, yes, that's
That
who it
was an
was.
awful beat.
Horrible.
Did you see that, Troy?
I 100% would have taken Mizzou if I saw those lines, but I didn't.
Did you see the
Yeah, I saw the dude chuck the half quarter. Yeah.
For no
nothing.
reason.
Yeah.
Just a bench
salt
guy?
in the wounds.
It was, yeah, like a walk-on or something they were
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah. Or like the team
Insane.
manager or something.
Literally.
The team manager got in against Lindenwood, man. Come on. What are we talking about?
3-pointer. James, so Bama here, what's their spread? It's got to be in like the 30s.
It wasn't even showing on.
Yep, that's how big it is.
On Bleacher Report. Let me check.
Imagine playing
DraftKings.
Austin Peavy in like week 10 now?
Well, Texas A&M is facing UMass this week, and they're 33 and a
I
half
thought we were
point
supposed
favorites.
to we got to get rid of those games at the beginning of the year.
You know what's crazy? A lot of teams are playing lower-ended talent this week, and their big game is next week. So Florida State's next week. You have Michigan, Ohio State next week. All of the big games are shaping up to be right at the end of the year.
This is basically like a bye week for the big schools.
Yeah, well, not in the case of Vanderbilt, Florida. Florida won this game. I think it was like 48-0 last year, and now I like Vandy plus 14.5. So
I don't even see it on DraftKings.
there it is. So yeah,
Alabama
it's
game.
probably not up. They probably
Gonna
don't
be
have a
ugly.
line, and if
Minus
they do,
56
it's going to be
6.5.
day of the game. Some other sleepers I like on Saturday before we get into the NFL. Believe it or not, I like Baylor plus 3 against undefeated TCU, and Baylor got destroyed last week. Baylor's head coach, Dave Aranda, is perfect as an underdog against top 15 teams as a coach. His teams have covered 12.5 points per game, and that includes 4 consecutive outright wins over the past 2 seasons against opponents ranked 4th, 5th, 8th, and 14th. What I really like about Baylor is when they are at home, things go right. That's just kind of Baylor football, especially this year. TCU is one of those teams, too, that never starts off strong in games, but will always close down the stretch. I could see TCU winning this game by a field goal, and if you want to cover, maybe take Baylor plus 3.5 at this point, because I almost think Baylor will win by a small amount of points, or TCU wins by 3. I don't think it's anything more. I don't think you sleep on the Horned Frogs, though, but quarterback Max Duggan is dealing with an injury. I think it's a calf injury. So monitor that as we go into this football game. USC minus 1.5 against UCLA. Really like that play. I think USC kind of paves their own road to the college football playoff at this point. They control their own destiny. You beat UCLA, you win the Pac-12 championship. Say Ohio State beats Michigan. Well, now you're looking at a Michigan team that hasn't had a very strong strength of schedule that's trying to get into the college football playoff. And this is if TCU remains undefeated. You're looking at Tennessee that didn't compete for a conference championship, but has a better strength of schedule than Michigan. And you're facing them off against UCLA, who potentially won the Pac-12 and is looking for their way in. You know, those writers, those voters, they pay more attention to those conference championships than people think. USC could easily find their way in if they win out the rest of the year and if things don't shape out for Michigan in the college football playoff along with TCU. Easily could happen. So that's why this is a must-win game for the Trojans. Arkansas plus 2.5 against Ole Miss. That pick is contingent on KJ Jefferson being back. I covered with Arkansas last week against LSU. I said LSU was overrated. They proved me right that they were overrated, and Arkansas won me some money. I also like Boston College plus 21.5 against Notre Dame. Thank you, Notre Dame, for letting Navy come all the way back in that football game and outscore you 19-0 in the second half. So those are my picks for the week. Follow them, ride them. Again, I'm 47-36 on the year. We're in the money. That's over $100 if you play $10 per play. It's going to be another big week. I can feel it. As Troy said, it's one of those weeks to where I almost like the underdogs because for the more powerful teams, the higher ranked teams, I think they're more interested in knowing what's happening next week than they are this week. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Let's go to the NFL. We can start with noon slates, then we'll go into 3 o'clock slates. Those two will throw their touchdown scorers your way. I'll add some in if I like someone that they miss. But aside from that, let me start off with this. The Vikings have an 88% win percentage entering their Week 11 game against the Cowboys. Teams with an 88% win rate or higher listed as home underdogs. The Vikings are home underdogs to the Cowboys, are 37-22-2 ATS in the last 20 years.
Okay, that is ridiculous that they're the underdogs. I'll give you that. They should not be underdogs. That's insane.
Underdogs.
That's insane.
Plus, the Rams are 2-6-1 ATS this season so far. That's ridiculous.
They're ass.
Saints are -3 against them.
It's crazy to think that your past Super Bowl champion can just.
It's a good thing they won because they sold out for that Super Bowl.
It's like the Cubs, man, when they won their World Series.
Yep.
They gave up everything to do it.
Sold out for Chapman, sold out for everybody. Yeah, it's crazy. But like James talked about hitting that Kirk Cousins first interception of the day. If you want to jump right into your Sunday, that is so fun. Doing the first passing touchdown of the day and the first interception of the day. I even bet the first touchdown of the day.
Yeah,
of course, I
don't even know if you can do that.
I did.
Iowa.
I thought that it was going to come in the Bears Lions game. Of course, the Bears kick a field goal. I had D-Mount.
Yeah, they were in the first team in the red zone.
Dude, it was insane.
And I had Mooney first overall touchdown. He was plus 6,500.
Oh my god!
I had Fields to throw the first touchdown of the day too at like plus.
But dude, it will literally get you going as soon as you turn red zone on. It is so fun. I'm so glad we found that because you want to. And like you said, $5. He won $80 on $5.
Pretty strong start. Pretty strong start. I love where your guys' heads are at. What do you like in the noon slate? Because if we look at it, you have Bears, Falcons, Eagles, Colts, Jets, Pats, Commanders, Texans, Rams, Saints, Browns, Bills, Panthers, Ravens, and Lions, Giants.
It's a lot of games.
Good noon slate, good red zone slate this week.
Did I make it up? It was a really busy day at work. Did Khalil Herbert hit the IR?
He did.
He did.
Okay.
Which is kind of crazy because I didn't even see anything pop up about this dude during the game. Nothing.
Crazy.
And then all of a sudden it was like IR for you, which is great for Montgomery owners like myself.
And that's who I was about to bring up. Yeah. Didn't find the end zone last week. Yeah, I think he easily finds it against the Falcons. Honestly, I think the Bears easily handle him. I like Fields to score. I like Kmet to get in again for the fourth straight week. Yeah, any of those guys honestly would be nice to throw in the parlay. Kmet probably has the best odds, obviously. Don't really love anybody in the Browns-Bills game. Commanders, Texans, I like Gibson and Pierce to both get in. Eagles, Colts, Taylor finds the end zone again. Miles Sanders finds the end zone. And then, let's see, Lions, Giants. I think, didn't Jamal Williams get injured? Jamal Williams is questionable, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Saquon gets in for the Lions, against the Lions. And I like Darius Slayton. I think his odds will be really good. That Lions defense is just horrible. They give up so many points. Ravens game, I like Lamar to rush one in against the Panthers. Isn't Gus still out?
We don't know yet. We're not sure.
And who knows what the status of Mark Andrews is currently.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't said anything about either one, so.
Yeah, and then that's really it. Those other games don't really interest me a ton.
For my wide receivers at noon, I had Andrews, if he plays, Diggs, McLaurin, and I like Drake London, man. I think he's going to heat up. I really do. I wish his quarterback wasn't Mariota, but I like Drake London. He hit a lot of my running backs. D-Mount, Taylor, Kamara, Barkley. That's going to be the parlay for noon, man.
I think you see Justin Fields run one in again. That dude, until he doesn't run one in, is going to run one in every week. Every week.
Right.
I think the same thing. I think the same thing with Jalen Hurts. I was just about to say that. And I also love the Lamar Jackson play that James said. Those three quarterbacks right there, I think are cool so juicy to have in that first slate. And if you want to get, maybe a little crazy with it, how about throwing a Taylor Heineke rushing touchdown in there?
Oh,
you lost me, brother.
And I'm all about the rushing TDs. You know that.
I think the Christmas lights are emitting fumes up into this dude's nostrils.
I think Taylor Heineke could be something special against the Texans, the worst run defense in the NFL. Not to say that Taylor Heineke runs all that much, but how about just maybe a QB sneak from the 1 yard line? Troy hopes for that every single week.
Yes, I do.
How about Gibson and Robinson 2+?
You want them both in this game?
4 touchdowns?
You're higher than a kite.
Come on now.
You want Taylor Heineke in?
Yeah, that's more of a lock than both of them scoring twice.
100%.
No, not against the Texans.
Oh, my God. Dameon Pierce has a chance to score 4 times before those guys score twice.
We're going all over the place. I don't know what's going on.
The Texans game,
I was going to say that
final
was
score, 62-58.
I'd buy it.
62-58.
It's a college football game in the MAC. Let's move to the 3 o'clock slate. You have Raiders, Broncos, Cowboys, Vikings, Bengals, Steelers. Let me give you my nugget about the Steelers here. Mike Tomlin, 14-8 straight up and 16-3 ATS as a home underdog in his career. 16-3 ATS mark as a home underdog is the best of any coach over the last 20 years. And as a home dog against AFC North opponents, he's 5-0-2 against the spread.
5-1-2.
Against the Bengals now, Joey Burrow.
Yeah, there's some good running backs and wide receivers in this slate too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe some good like same game X's and stuff.
Yeah, and that's usually what I like to do, especially if there's only 3 games. Shit, why not?
I think you find CeeDee Lamb in the end zone this week.
I love that play.
I think you find Devontae Adams into the end zone this week.
Love that. That's one of my 2. And then the third one?
And I think this one may be a little, because you could go between 2. I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, me too. Let's go. Those are my 3.
Well, it looks like I'm hitting because I
right on the nail.
Yep. And since Troy rode me,
so
that is not hitting.
Yeah.
Stay away.
And if you want to reverse roles here, I like Jefferson to get in, I like Judy to get in, and I like Deontay Johnson to score this week.
I bet on Judy last week, and the dude rolled his ankle in the first series. So is he okay?
So far, I think so. I didn't really check on that.
He
I just
literally
know
rolled his ankle
Jerry
on the
Jeudy's
first or second drive.
One of my favorites because he goes downfield more than Sutton. So he's kind of like the Devontae Smith of that offense.
Well, let's see.
I also like Pollard to get in and maybe even Schultz.
He is not practicing.
Well, there you have it. Don't bet on Jerry Jeudy unless he somehow, some way finds his way onto the practice field.
Yeah. Did not practice. Ankle. Tragic.
So Dolchich if Judy doesn't play, Raj?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly the route I'd go. Well, we know he won't throw to KJ Hamler.
Anyone on that offense, dude. No one.
Yeah.
It is so pathetic to watch.
It is interesting, though, if you look at Russell Wilson's schedule the rest of the way. He does have one of the easier strength of schedules for quarterbacks, and yet I bet he still only puts up 14, 15 fantasy points a week.
I was going to say.
He ain't making anything look easy.
Yeah, even in the the so-called easy games this year, he's not proven anything.
He's kind of he doesn't throw enough touchdowns. That's really been his kryptonite.
When I feel like we all owe Drew Lock an apology, too. Like, the Broncos are going to be Super Bowl contenders if they just get a quarterback. Well,
maybe not
clearly
Drew Lock.
That's not the case.
It would make sense. We'd owe Drew Lock an apology if he was the starter, but it is proven that Drew Lock is a backup.
That kid didn't stand a chance.
No.
Wilson looks horrible. And that's who was blocking for Lock. So that poor guy.
You know, it's crazy because you pay this man all this money. And you just got to hope and pray that he figures it out at this point, because nobody's going to take on that contract. But you can't go off and draft a quarterback now. Like you're stuck with Russell Wilson until that contract's up. You are stuck in the mud.
Yep. They better get some linemen, man, because that shit's terrible.
Well, I like Sutton then if Jerry Jeudy does not play. But James, you mentioned some running backs. You started with Pollard. Did you end up saying Najee or Mixon? Mixon, and then I'm assuming Jacobs.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if you would have thrown in Melvin Gordon
or Dolchich.
First touchdown, Greg Dolchich.
Komet and Dolchich. Boom.
I love that.
First touchdown in every 3:00 game. You have Dolchich, you have T.J. Hawkinson, and you have Pat Freiermuth. All 3 tight ends.
I could see one happening, low key, or even Schultz.
One.
Yeah. I just don't know how often Dak Prescott throws the football to Schultz in the red zone.
What about Hayden Hurst?
Hayden Hurst, not bad. I'm picking him up this week and starting him in a league, so why not?
Or Foster Moreau.
Yeah, no, not him. Not him.
I'm doing him just because you said that.
Do it, please. Please do it.
First touchdown of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, dang it, it's at 3.
That would have been crazy.
That would be crazy.
Now, I feel like we're on our crazy hill still. Let's go into Sunday Night Football. This should be a high-scoring affair, but if we know our primetime games this year, the under has always found a way to hit. You have Chiefs, Chargers. This game taking place in L.A. Not sure about the weather, but I would guess that it's either rainy or warm, which is nice for both of these teams, especially Justin Herbert that spent most of his career on the West Coast.
L.A.
Should be a high-scoring game. Huh?
It's in a dome. LA's a dome.
Yeah.
Is it?
The Chargers?
SoFi. SoFi's.
I thought they share with the Rams. That's a dome.
They share SoFi. Yeah, It's indoors.
I did not know that was a dome.
Yeah. Is it retractable?
Probably.
Did you see Buffalo's supposed to get 6 inches of snow?
Yeah, like
6 feet.
20.
It might have said feet.
I think it's like a consecutive day thing, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw like
all
30
I know is that
inches
that
over
over-under is
weekend or something.
41 and a half.
They were
Hammer
showing that
under.
highlight of Shady McCoy and who was the other running
Calvin
back?
Johnson. Oh,
That one's my favorite.
No,
the
it
Calvin
the
Johnson
Lions Eagles game with like Michael Vick and
where he catches the ball and he's just got it all in his face.
that game and Deshaun Jackson, bro. Fantasy players ate in that game.
Who played the Bills in 2017 in that snowstorm?
I literally remember the LaShawn McCoy run to win it.
The Colts. Frank Gore.
There you go.
It was Frank Gore.
Oh.
Him and Frank Gore went off in that game. I don't know if I'm going to do any passing touchdowns in that Bills game.
The under, dude.
But
you kidding me? We're not even going to be able to kick field goals.
We're talking controlled environment now.
Nick Chubb probably eat.
Yeah,
Nick Chubb 150.
Nick Chubb 3 touchdowns.
3+.
3+ touchdowns for Chubb. That'd be insane. Let's talk about this high-scoring game because I think touchdowns could come from anyone. But I'm interested to know the direction that you guys are headed here.
Go ahead.
You dick. So I would.
You're
I'm
gonna talk
honestly
eventually.
I'm probably gonna put a same game together for this. I'm not gonna go for like 4 touchdown scorers or anything. I'll probably just go because I don't know who else I'd pick for the Chargers other than Eckler. I think he's almost a lock to find the end zone. Travis Kelce. Yeah. Travis Kelce, and then if McCole Hardman gets healthy, I'm gonna throw him in there. And then I would touch Eckler's receiving yards, Kelce's receptions, and yards. Honestly, Kelce's props seem to always hit against the Chargers. I feel like, and maybe a couple picks, Mahomes and Herbert. Either one of them, I feel like you couldn't go wrong. I feel like they both.
Well, Herbert's offensive line has not done him any favors this year. He'd be the guy that I would lean on for a pick.
Yeah, or you could even go sacks for the Chiefs, 3+ sacks.
Could easily do that. Justin Herbert just hasn't looked comfortable this year.
They've been very underwhelming.
And yeah, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both been shaken up the whole year. Like both of them haven't been on the field at the same time since like week 2. So,
Troy, what do you like
for the guy?
I think this is the same game that you have to throw a little bit more on because, like you said, really it's just Eckler. Like unless you, if we're talking locks, like it's going to be same thing with the Chiefs. Trying to pick between all these receivers from both teams is going to be an absolute nightmare.
I know.
So I think that to be safe, I think you could take the Kansas City receivers' yards, like almost all of them. If Juju plays, Juju, Tony, and I don't know what Valdez-Scantling's. Yeah, any of them. I think you could take a couple of their yards, just pick the right ones, and then my touchdown locks are going to be Kelce and Eckler. I don't think my odds for this game are going to be insane, but I'm okay with that because I think Kelce, Eckler score, and then take some yards for the Chargers receivers and take some yards for the Kansas City receivers.
I think this is finally a game that we'll see end up being high scoring. When people predict or have predicted games this year and said that they were going to be high scoring, they haven't been. I think this one's actually going to hit. So I think you take the over in this game for one. Secondly, I like the spread here. I like not the against like the spread of the points. The spread of touchdown scorers here. I think Tony gets in this week again. I think his touchdown comes on a deep ball. I think Pacheco gets in this week because he seemed to take over that backfield for Kansas City, and I have no clue what to say about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This dude has to be one of the bigger draft busts in recent history because they just, after week 1 of his rookie season, haven't figured out how to use him again. Have not. And it just doesn't seem like Andy Reid's offense.
Consistently, for sure.
Andy Reid's offense just doesn't cater to the running back. It caters to Patrick Mahomes.
Run at all. Yeah.
So I think you'll get a Pacheco touchdown, but it's going to come when there's like pass interference in the end zone. And then you're at the 1-yard line. Pacheco runs it in. I like Eckler to score as everybody else does, but I also think Kelce gets in. So I'm going to do 3 Chiefs and 1 Charger.
Wow.
And that's the direction I see this game going. Yes, could I throw in Mike Williams if he plays and then take out the Tony touchdown or the Pacheco touchdown? Yeah, I could alternate one of those. But I just don't feel comfortable throwing in Josh Palmer or DeAndre Carter when I could throw in a Chief who I think is going to control this football game. So that's where I'm at with touchdowns. I also really like McKinnon, 3 to 5 plus catches. The past 2 weeks, he's had 6. So I'm going to lean that direction. But if those catch odds don't really please me, I'll look at something like over 35 receiving yards, something in that boat. McKinnon seems to catch the ball in space and go. So that's what I like this week. I don't want to touch any receiving odds. Troy kind of alluded to it. I'm not very good at following receiving odds. It happens to be I get the touchdown score, but then the receiver gets 29 yards and not the 45 that he's projected. I'm going to stay away in this matchup unless I go with some type of receiving prop for the Chargers. And maybe I throw that one in there because they'll be down in this football game and will need to throw in order to win the football game. That's where I'm at on Sunday night. It's a little crazy. It's a wilder spread of touchdown scorers, but something's got to go my direction soon. I just can't stop, right? You have to keep going until you finally find your groove, and maybe this is that week. I'm not going to say that it's going to be my week.
Scared money don't make no money.
I'm not going to say that it's my week because I'm going to wait until I finally have it. Oh, see ya. Goodbye. Internet connection. James Merrig.
I am excited for this Monday night game, though, dude. Could be good.
That's what I was getting to. Next, we'll bring James back in whenever he gets onto StreamYard again. 49ers, Cardinals. The 49ers, one of the best defenses in the NFL. And a non-existent Christian McCaffrey last week against the Cardinals.
Besides the touchdown. He wouldn't have hit anybody's yards, but he would have got that touchdown.
Did he score last week? I didn't think he scored.
I'm pretty sure he got a 1-yard touchdown late.
I thought you may be right. I think you are right.
Because, it didn't do any good for anybody because the game was disgusting.
You're absolutely right. 100% correct. I could have sworn that was 2 weeks ago, but they were on a bye that week. When I look at this game, I don't really know what to think about the Cardinals running backs because of how strong up front the 49ers are.
And do we even know if Kyler's going to play?
That's a big question. That's a big, big question mark. So it has you sitting in one of two places.
It's hard to call that stuff on Wednesday. You know what I mean?
Does Colt McCoy have what it takes to compete with Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes. Does Colt McCoy have what it takes to compete with the 49ers
like the same
defense?
QB, honestly.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty nuts. But if you look at we'll look at Kyler Murray and his status going into the week right now. Kyler carrying that questionable tag, and that questionable tag has him. This report coming out at 3:35 on Wednesday, saying Cliff Kingsbury will make a decision later this week.
Good. Thank you.
Later this week. But, yes, if Kyler Murray plays, I think this game is much better than we think. If not, I'm hammering the under.
Yep. Absolutely.
And now James just sent us a text over and said, I don't think it's coming back. So I don't think
you
he's
better
coming
text in
back.
his lock.
Yeah, let's make sure we get his build-a-parlay.
Because we've been doing so good with it.
We are 1-9 on the year. 1-9. But if you look at Troy,
dude.
Troy is like 7-2.
You're correct. I am. And both of my 2 losses were first quarter injuries to Montgomery and Dobbins.
So let's cue the music. And Troy, kick us off. Build a parlay. Hit me with yours.
Saturday night, the Avs going against their old goalie who won him the cup, Darcy Kemper. So I'm hammering Nathan McKinnon over 1.5 points. He's going to expose Darcy in Washington, D.C.
James, if he were here, would say Adam Fox assist Saturday night. Please and thank you against the San Jose Sharks. In regards to that pick, I wonder what Adam Fox's odds are going to be.
Who are they playing?
The
Any
Sharks.
Yeah, probably minus 200.
So that one, probably more of the lock this week. I'm not going to go out on a limb. Sometimes I like to do that. Other times I like to, chew on.
Let's get a win, man.
Chew on some humbleness. I was between two, but I think both are going to hit ultimately. So I'm going to stick with Navy plus 17.5 against UCF. It was either that or the Vandy game. But I feel a little more confident with how Navy controls the pace of the game because of their run attack. That's what we're sticking with. You have McKinnon on Saturday night, 1.5 points. Adam Fox also on Saturday night to get a point. And then Navy plus 17.5 against UCF. I believe that kickoff is at 11 o'clock. So we are looking at the start of the day. So
I love it.
We're having some fun this week. We have a lot of great plays out there. Make sure to listen all the way through to get all those money-making plays. We started off strong. What a great story that Troy had for us. And then we went into our locks of the week, and we finish off every episode like we always do.
And you look great. Don't let you got to let them know. You look fantastic.
I can't
Pull all the hairs out of your sleeve.
I can't wait to take off this woman's size
Christmas tree
that feels like I'm in the middle of a Christmas tree.
Oh, looks brutal, man.
The ornaments, the lights, they all look great, but I can't wait to throw this thing away.
Hey, you took the punishment like a champ, man.
I
Nice
did,
job.
and I can't wait to get out of all my clothes and just sit on my couch in my underwear. Like, that's going to be feeling amazing. What a fresh breeze of air coming through. Thanks for joining us. As always, we appreciate you on this ride. It's big plays, bad days, and parlays. For James Merrick, who's gone, Troy Aldridge. I'm Andrew Rogers. Let's win some money this week.